And before we get going, I just want to make a brief announcement. RoadEng version 7 is going to be released very shortly, probably next week. We are also releasing Soft-Tree Optimal, which is our new technology for optimizing the vertical alignment of a road. We have been working on this technology with UBC for more than 4 years, and we are really excited about it. There's lots more information about RoadEng version 7 and Soft-Tree Optimal on our website, and I would encourage you to check it out. And with that, I will hand off to Jack.
Thank you very much, Kamala. Okay, today's focus is on importing large LiDAR data sets. Again, thank you for joining us on our biweekly webinar sessions, like Kamala said. I'm going to import some LAS files, binary files. You can also import ASCII files, coordinate files into our software. But I'm going to import some LAS files for you, just show you how that works. First of all, I'm going to show you how to do some corridor thinning in our software. I'm going to open up a bunch of roads and just thin my data out based on these corridors. I'm going to use just one corridor. You could use all of them if you wanted to. After I thin out the data and I do some tin modeling and some contouring, I will show you how to design one of these roads, probably this one right here. For people that are doing paved road design, don't worry, the session is not, the primary focus of the session is not about what type of road it is. It's importing LiDAR data sets, and I'll show you how to do a simple corridor design, horizontal, vertical alignment, volumes, and stuff like that. Let's go on by importing the data. Like I said, LAS files. I'm going to select them both at the same time and press open. I'm going to choose the ground, and I'm going to turn off display extend border, and I'm going to make sure that my display points is turned off. I don't want to see the points. By the way, I forgot to mention that if you do have any questions, there is a question panel in front of you. Don't hesitate to ask a question. I will look over every so often and answer your questions. I'm not going to worry about the projection, although it is in BC, so I would have projected it to UTM in BC. I'm not going to worry about that today. I'm going to try to maintain the webinar length to about half an hour. Add one of those corridors into my list of corridors here, and then thin it out by 100 meters on each side of that corridor. So basically, beyond the 100 meters, it will get thinned out. Within the 100 meters, I will keep it at full resolution. So basically, no points will be skipped within that corridor. But outside of that corridor, which is the default, I will skip every 9th point or so. And then just let the software do its work. Takes only a couple of seconds. Or a few seconds, not a couple seconds, but about 15, 20 seconds to import 2 LAS files. Two LAS tiles. Tiles do usually, by the way, LAS files and ASCII files should be provided by your provider in tile format so that you can choose which tiles you want to import. Don't have to import the whole data set. You can choose the area of interest. So there's my 2 tiles imported, and you can see that the data is more dense around the corridor and less dense outside. Select in blank space and all those points will disappear. They're still there, it's just that I chose to hide them. Don't want to waste too much memory in showing a bunch of points and space on my next step is to generate tin contours. I'm going to press the Generate Tin button, which is up here. Minor contours will be a red color. Press the plus sign beside minor contours or major contours to change the color. My major contours will be a black color. Minor contours will be at 1 meter interval or maybe 2 meter intervals. Major contours will be at 10 meter intervals. And it looks like the elevation's pretty close to sea level here, so I'm just going to keep my start and end elevation the same, 0 to 550. And I'm going to label my major contours and not label my minor contours. Press OK. Then in a few seconds you should see contours. There's my contours. Let's take a look at this in 3D before I go on to do a quick road design. Window, new window, graphics, 3D. Oh, let me save this first. File, save as, just in case. I want to make sure that it gets saved before I do anything. I'm going to call it Topo, and then I'm going to look at it in 3D. Graphics, 3D. There's a 3D view of it. It's quite nice. It's quite a lot of steep hills going through here. There is an existing road, as you can see. I'm going to design the road that doesn't exist yet, which is coming out this way and going back that way. Okay, I'm going to go on to design work now. Just a little background of what I just did. I imported a bunch of roads, existing roads, line work of roads. They can come in shape file format. I did some corridor thinning, imported my LiDAR data, which was in LAS format. Again, it could come in ASCII coordinate format. And then I did some contouring, tinning and contouring. And then I showed you my file in 3D, the end result in 3D. Let's go on to the location design module, which is our road design module. Again, just to reiterate for the people that are designing paved roads, this could have very well been a rural paved road. This happens to be a low volume gravel road, so I'm just going to use a low volume gravel template. We do have county paved 2-lane roads if you want to use those in our software. Let's go on. Let's just save this one last time just to make sure, and then go on to the location design module. I've saved it with this point selected, the starting point selected. File, new, open up that file. Terrain current feature, starting on that point that I had selected. Actually, I selected the wrong point. Let me just move the starting point down at this intersection right here. If you want to modify your template, you can. Like I said to people that are designing paved roads, we do have rural 2-lane paved roads with shoulders, but this happens to be a low volume gravel road. Just going to show you how to modify that template a bit, just really quickly. Roadway, I'm going to keep, this is a metric design, so I'm just going to keep it at 3 meters. Road width on each side, so 6 meters total. Depth I'm going to keep the same, and there's going to be a crown of 2%. Ditches, 2-to-1 inslope. 1/2 meter width at the bottom. 1/2 meter depth. Slopes, 2-to-1 outslope or back slope on both sides, left and right. And that's where I'm going to leave it. We do have, by the way, urban templates. We have a whole bunch of different components. If you want to build your own template, let me quickly go into our e-library and show you all those components. There they all are. I'm just going to select them all and bring them into this design. So there's a whole bunch of different roadway components, rural components, roadway components, ditch components, slope components, walls and barriers if you want to use gabion structures, retaining walls. I don't want to dwell on this too long, but anyway, you can build your own template. All you do is just simply copy and paste into your template the component that you need. Let's go on. Design this road. The procedure is quite simple. All it is left click twice to design roads. Let me retrieve a screen layout here that sets my screen up for horizontal alignment. Wash out this background a bit, just so it's not as vibrant as it is right now. I'm going to wash it out by 75%. Left click once to add a point after that last IP or PI. Left click again to tie it down. Left click once. I'm going to snap to that point right there. Left click again to tie it down. Just keep on snapping to these points right here. And we do have snapping capability, by the way. You might not want to have your snapping turned on all the time, because you might inadvertently snap to something that you don't want to snap to. But I can pretty well snap to these points quite nicely. And I'm just going to follow that road along. I might do some long straight segments, just don't want to waste too much of the time here. I'm going to put an IP all the way over here. Go across. There was a question, can you only have one ditch on one side? Yes, you can. You can create a component that just is a one-sided, has one ditch on one side. Yes. Does that answer your question? Thank you for your question. If you have any further questions that you'd like to get answered that you don't want to ask in this forum, you can always call us on our toll-free number, and we can answer any of your questions, either support questions or questions about the software in general. Just to answer that question a little bit better, let me go and get my e-library before I go into any more design. You can get a one-sided ditch just on one side and copy and paste that, and then you can copy and paste it onto the other side if you want to. So this is just a one-sided ditch. I can just copy that and paste it into my template. I'm not going to do that, but you could, and delete these ditches here, this two-sided ditch component. Let's put some curves, horizontal curves in this. Let me jump back all the way to my second IP or PI. Get my default curve. I think I'll keep it to 100 meters. You could use design speeds if you want to, but I'm just going to stay with just simple radius. You can also put in a super elevation for your roads. Either type it in or use TAC tables or ASCII tables to figure out your supers. I'm going to apply a 100-meter radius curve, and then set that as my default. Jump forward, get my default. I'll find that it can't fit, so I'm going to change my my radius just for one curve, maybe a few along this design. I'm going to change it to 30 meters and apply. That one fits nicely. Jump, get my default, apply, jump. So this just jumps from PI to PI, IP to IP, get my default. I'm going to change that to a little bit less because I know that the next curve is not going to be able to fit. Apply, jump, get my default. Like I said, it can't fit, so I'm going to change that to a little bit less than 50, maybe about 30 or 20. My minimum radius for this particular design is a 15-meter radius curve. It happens to be, like I said, a low-volume road. Change that to something less than 100 because it can't fit. I'm going to set this as my new default, or maybe not. I'm just going to change it, and then I'm going to change it back to 100. Use a 30-meter radius curve here. Apply, maybe a little bit more, 50. Apply. No, I think 30 would be good enough. pull this IP back a little bit more. You can pull your IPs around and it will update your cross sections and all of your volumes. Jump, get my default, apply. 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 Okay, I'm at the end of the design. Let me just quickly show you one more time how you can move your IPs or PIs around, and everything will update real time before I go into vertical alignment and output. And see how if I move this a little bit off that line, you can see how it updates the cross section. Let me move it back. Go on to vertical alignment. Retrieve a screen layout for vertical alignment. This is quite a steep road. I think it's about 10 to 12%, as most low volume roads are. Let me just add an IP. You can see, just let me talk a little bit more about the colors that you see here before I go on to doing a lot more design. Let me delete that IP. Right now you see a lot of red. What that means is that we are endlessly cutting and wasting a lot of this earth, a lot of volume that we have built up. That's because we're cutting more than we're filling. The road is just sitting right on top of the ground. There's been no vertical alignment yet, but I'll fix that. Left click once. Now you can see some other colors appear. Let's just talk a little bit more about these colors. You saw red. Red was waste. You see a little bit of blue here, right there. That's borrow. Overhaul is yellow. Green is free haul. And change those colors to whatever you want. And you can change your free haul and overhaul distances. Pull that down a bit more. If you want to move an IP around, you can. Just grab it and hover your pencil over the crosshairs or over the IP until it changes to a box, which is the edit cursor. And then you can move it around. Let's pull it back up a little bit more and get rid of some of that waste that I have going on. You can also see that we have an 8, almost a 9% grade coming down into, there was a question, what is the difference between free haul and overhaul? Free haul is the, by the way, they're both operable. Before I go on to explain them fully, they're both operable. Free haul is the distance that your excavator can actually push the dirt. Overhaul, you actually have to load the dirt on top of a truck and then truck it either back or forward along the road. Does that answer your question? I'm going to add a few more IPs or PIs here. I'm going to add one all the way at the end of this design. And then I'm going to add some in between just to show you how to do that. Left click once. Left click again to tie it down. I've got a lot of borrow happening here. Get rid of some of that borrow by pulling that down. I've got a 15% grade happening. If you can live with that, that's fine. If you can't, then you can just make that a little bit less. You can see I'm getting quite well balanced for this first part of the design. It's only this latter part that I have a lot of borrow. Let me try to pull this last IP down a bit more. Get rid of some of that borrow. I'm pretty well happy with this vertical line. I'm just going to quickly put in some curves and then show you how to do some output in our software. Vertical curves can either be based on K value or by length or by design speed. I'm just going to choose to put in a K value, and it will calculate a length of curve for me. Apply. A K value of 5 is great for low volume roads here in Canada. Set that as my default curve. Apply. Then you might decide to move around a little bit more just to get rid of some of the volume that might have been either wasted or borrowed. Pull that up a bit more. I'm fine with this little bit of waste that I have going on here. I have a sustainable grade of 10%. It's good enough for me, I think. And I'm going to just quickly show you how to do some output plan profile sheets. Change my page size or my print setup. (11 by 17). We've got 5 pages of plan profile sheets. You can see that the software automatically redraws the profile so that if you have a lot of elevation change, change one more thing. Here in Canada, we like our stationing to be in this format. In the States, they like it in that format. Let me quickly show you how to do output of sections before I sign off. This particular screen layout has my sections laid out in 1 column, 2 rows. You can change that to whatever number you want, and I have 100-meter intervals showing up. And I'm going bottom up. You can toggle that off and it will be top down. I've got 7 pages of cross sections. Let me just quickly go through them. 4, 5, 6. And there's the last page, 7. And it starts all over again. You can just go file print, and it will print out all of those pages for you, just like any other document. Thank you very much for joining us on this on our biweekly webinar session. And join us again in a couple of weeks for another interesting webinar. I don't know what it's about, but you can look on our website. Actually, I think I do know what it's about. Let me just go on to, I think it's on templates, creating templates, advanced templates. Thank you very much. Join us again. Thank you.